Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, we'll continue with our module 3, lesson 5 about our life as a Muslim. How do we interpret or how do we react, when you declare in every time when you're doing the prayer, as you were saying in the prayer, inna salati wa nusuki wa mahmaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alamin. La syarika lahu wa bizalika umirtu wa ana minal muslimin. So let's go inside and see what our life as a Muslim is like. But before we move on, I like to read to you the Quran in chapter 7, Surah Al-A'raf. Al-A'raf means the heights, where this chapter can be seen in many references of many Quranic verses is abstract or is an excerpt from this verse or from this chapter. So I just want to share the first few of Surah Al-A'raf from chapter 7, verse 1, verse 2, and verse 3 is a beautiful reminder where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alif Lam Mim Sad Kitabun Unzila Ilaika Fala yakun fi sadrika harajun minhu litunzira bihi wa zikra lil mu'minin. Which means Alif Lam Mim Sad, only Allah knows the meaning. Then Kitabun Unzila Ilaika, a book, Allah says, a book revealed unto you. So let your heart be oppressed no more by any difficulty on that account, that with it you might warn the erring and teach the believers. Allah reminded the Prophet ﷺ to share that with us the moment if you have this book, that you should not be thinking of any difficulties, on that account, that you might warn the believers. So it's referring to us. And the third verse, Allah says, "Attabi'u ma unzila ilaykum min rabbikum wa la tattabi'u min dunihi awliya'a qalilan ma tazakkarun." So here in this third verse, Allah reminded, follow, O man. Allah command, follow, O man, the revelation, follow the Quran given unto you from your Lord, and follow not as friends or protectors other than Allah. Little it is you remember of admonition. Wallahu a'lam bishawab. And it's a very interesting reminder for us to ponder upon. And let's move on to our lessons today to understand more what is our life as a Muslim. So this will be the course content. What does it mean to be a Muslim? And then, it's easy just to say that I am a Muslim, isn't it? But if somebody were to ask you, what is a Muslim? Is it because of the beard? Is it because of the black hat, white hat, the imama, that is the turban that you're wearing, or what? What is it? Or are you have some marks on your forehead to say that only when you have that marks then you are known as a Muslim? Or what? What is a Muslim? Okay, and how to be the best, what we will be sharing Muslim and Muslimah, especially in our context. And then we went through that culture versus religion, and we have already went through about shaitan made us do it. And today is where we will cover about our life. And I think this is the last topic for this module. So today we will cover about the beginning of our life as a Muslim. As we already know, generally, I think all of us, the first thing that we heard is this, the Kalimatul Tawheed, which is the Azan, you know. And the end, also we will be, someone will recite to us the Kalimatul Tawheed, which is La ilaha illallah. And let's go into what is in between. In order to know what happens in between, that's where the Qada and Qadar comes in, or what is known as what Allah had decreed for us, and that's the one that sometimes lead us astray. We don't know what Allah have decreed or predestined for us. And then we are to try also to learn about what is barakah, the concept of blessing in Islam, our objective, and some techniques for us to be reminding ourselves on how to be a good Muslim. So this is what the beginning of what normally we share. And I think in my, unfortunately it's in Malay, when I was discussing or sharing about the upbringing of children in accordance with Quran and Sunnah. So there's some guideline which the scholars has came out with, and this is one of them, to try and teach our child as we are reading the Quran from the age of when they were born until they are 2 years. So that is to finish the 30 juzu, that is just to read, and during the time when they are about 3 years old, is where you share just to recite La ilaha illallah first until they reach the age of 3 years and a half or 3 years, 17 months. And then you add Muhammadun Rasulullah. Okay, this is how the journey begins. Right, okay? So later it's up to you if you want to say that this is what you have shared or taught your children. But they don't behave accordingly. But of course, it's not just this word. So that's why we need to have the religion, so that the upbringing of our children is in accordance to the guide that was given to us. Remember that the Quran is known as what? Alif Lam Mim Zalikal Kitab La Raiba Hudan lil Muttaqin. You see the word Huda, so it's a book of guidance for the believers. Okay, so let's find out what else that we need to do. And then we also know that while we are alive, we knew, you can see that cute baby there. And then we know that death is something that is inevitable. There's no way that you can run away from it. As Allah, as I just mentioned just now, Surah Al-A'raf, and now we see Surah Al-A'raf appear. Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٌ فَإِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُمْ لَا يَسْتَخِرُونَ. See, scary, you know this word, لَا يَسْتَخِرُونَ. لَا يَسْتَخِرُونَ سَعَةً. And that means that when it's time for you to go, Allah will not delay. Okay? Not even an hour. لا يستخرون ساعة ولا يستكدون ولا يستقدمون. And for every nation is a specified term, so when their time has come, they will not remain behind an hour, nor will they precede. When time's up, in time's up. You see, that's why it is important, as always in every meeting or even in every lessons, as you know, even I try myself also, I end up with Surah Wal Asr. This is about time management. That's why it is crucial as a Muslim that we have to be thinking and remembering every time in whatever that we are chasing in this world. You know, you must not forget that you are to bring something. As you can see, the burial there, you don't see anything that he brought with him. Just 3 layers kafan or white cloth that is wrapped, and it will be untied when it is been released onto the ground. Right? You have to take lesson whether you like it or not. And again, as you can see, the journey actually where the clock is in the center, the journey when we are just a baby for us to die is again, it's not within our knowledge. We don't know when. So the clock is to tell us that don't waste time. We have to put on effort. We have to try and program and keep on reminding ourselves. I don't know. In short, to me, I'm not saying it. It's just because of I'm older. But to my understanding, that you have to try and fill up all the time that you have. Okay, don't reason with yourself to say that there are time for you to relax, where actually we don't have that much time because we don't know when we are gone. Quite recently, so many young, those who below 40, pass away. Okay, so it's something that you can't run away and doesn't want to think of it if you want to consider yourself as a Muslim. Okay, we have a mission, we have to prepare ourselves. Okay, and we know this again common verse about you and me. We all will have to taste death. And believe me, I have evidence from the hadith in the Quran. It is not something pleasurable. Allah knows. Nobody likes to die. You know. But as you can see, this is where if you study Quranic Arabic, the kullu here is known as kullu ajmain, meaning is no exception. It is a kullu that refer to every living mortal will taste that. Kullu nafsin zaikatil maut wa innama tuwaffuna ujurakum yawmal qiyamah faman zuhziha anin nar wa udkhilal jannah faqad faza wa mal hayatud dunya illa mata'il ghurur. Okay, sometimes this verse has been read uh, when after the janazah is already been lowered down, then the imam or the ustad or the one that is the uh, that leads the funeral, right, will recite the verse. So every soul will taste that, and you will only be given your full compensation on the day of resurrection. Meaning, like, don't think that no matter how much you suffer, right, in this world, that you will not be compensated. I don't know. That's why as a Muslim, we have to be remembering that the more hardship that you go through, the better life is going to be later, not now, not now. So stop complaining. As you can see, this verse already clearly tell us that you will be given your full compensation on the day of the resurrection. Of course, we are looking forward. That's why those who have made the preparation, they are looking forward to be admitted to paradise, has attained your desire, and what is the life of this world except enjoyment and delusion. Illa mata'ul ghurur. It's just Just happy lah, happy go lucky. Actually, there's nothing much. If you understand, this verse clearly also explain that you need to be working hard. I'm not saying that until there's no space for you. No, I don't say that. You still can enjoy, especially we have our young listening. You know, some of you are at home and you are hopefully that you're sharing this with your loved one. So they hope that they can hear this, and that's why don't waste their time when they are young. They are to fill up their time with things that they will read later on the day of resurrection. Okay? So please share and make them understand this. It's very important. As parents, we need to be reminding them, making them understand that there is a purpose of why we live. So we are to try and do as much. We just need to remember that, that you will get the full compensation. No matter whatever the reason that you have, in general, normally human will say they are tired. Of course, Allah knows that. And this world is meant for you to be tired. This world is meant for you to be busy. This world is meant for you to be doing a lot of stuff. Then only death becomes something that you are looking forward, because that's what they call it normally when a person pass on, right? We will normally say, uh, Rahimullah, which means that you will be, like you are in the safe hand. So whether you're going to be, when you are in Barza, when you are in the cemetery, whether you're going to be enjoying yourself there or not, it all depends on the effort that you put in while you are still alive. Okay? This is the reason why it's important. So how long do you think that you will live? No one knows, isn't it? You you can't even remember when you were 10 years old and now you are 40. I mean, for those who have reached 40, you can see that time flies. And always that when you go even older, then you're beginning to think that you wish that you could turn back the clock, right? You wish that you can turn back the clock. You want to go backwards, so that you have time to add in all those time that you have wasted, you know. And you can't run away from this. Allah knows. That's why sometimes it's really a privilege being a Muslim, as long as you are still alive. As the Prophet ﷺ reminded us, "Ikhtanim khamsan qabla khamsin." Raise these five before the five will reach. Okay? So when we all remember when our parents were younger, strong, if you still have the parents, striving to feed us, and now, some have passed on, while there are some still in their old age. Time passes by too quickly. As I just mentioned just now, how you wish that you could turn back time and start all over. Can you do that? When the second part here, that if you were to remember what your parents suffer or how when they were young, so it is where you are now, right? You are young, you are younger, you're strong, strive. So the striving there is actually jihad. It's talking about not only to feed your children like many parents does. This one I have shared. Make sure that you are the excellent parent. Be the excellent parent, which it has for to reach the level of being an excellent. Excellent is coming from the word khairul umur awsatuha or tamak, from the statement of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He recommended that the best is for us to be moderate. And moderate is being translated as, you have to have just, balance, and excellent. So if you can be or have that four things in you, or three, to be as a moderate Muslim, then you will know, what to expect when you become old, and then your children will be looking after you. Believe me, wallahi, I'm telling you, it is very important for all parents today must try and strive to reach the level of moderation. Although in English, moderate sounds not really that difficult, but if you translate it in Arabic, it's known as wasatiyah. And wasatiyah has that three things as I just mentioned, that you have to be balanced, you have to be just, Just, and you also have to be excellent. So if we are not an excellent parent, then I'm telling you that our children will not be able to make it. And especially your time now, it's not, the challenge is not like during your parent times. Your parent times may have, you know, their hardship when you were younger, although they are strong, they strive to make sure to make who you are and what you are now. No matter whatever the result after you grew up and you get married and then you have children, you cannot be comparing their time and your time. There's a lot of difference in our time, and it's more critical in our time to compare to during my time when I was much more younger. This is a very important thing that for all parents to please think about this thing, ponder upon these things. Because once you go through this, one it's over, then you can't turn back the clock. You cannot start all over again. It's too late. Okay, so while you are still available, or I mean, while you can, I urge you from the bottom of my heart, let's try and do it together. I mean, whatever that I can assist you in making you understand about this time management thing. Of course, it's very difficult to go into each and every one of you with the work, with the pressure, and whatever your reason is going to be. I just want to ask you one question. You and me, do you get 24 hours a day? Answer me sincerely. Assalamualaikum.
Ustaz, what was the question again?
You and me, do we get 24 hours a day?
Yes, Ustaz.
Right. So that's why what I'm trying to say here. If you and me get 24 hours a day, you can't be giving any reason, no matter whatsoever. And believe me, that's why you still have this old man here. My job is to try and look into what are the obstacles, the hurdle, as we have studied in the book of Minhajul Abidin, that all of us have to go through, where we find that it's kind of like, it addresses to the problems that you think that you are facing. Okay? All right. So that's why you have a teacher, and that is part of the job of the teacher to try and help you in the understanding of the hardship that you're going through in your life, or the reason that you'll be giving. Some will normally say, "Oh, I'm so busy at work and this and that." You can't tell Allah that you're busy, okay? Because Allah will show you He has His servant that is even busier than you. If you have read about Sulaiman alayhi salam, then you know that he's much more busier than us. He's been given the kingdom of the world, the kingdom of the sky, and he ruled the animal kingdom and this and that, and yet he had time. And I think during their time also they are given 24 hours a day. I mean, 12 hours in the day, 12 hours in the night. You know? So the question here is, like I said just now, before this time passes too quickly, and by the time you realize you don't have much time left, based on my experience, when I went for the pilgrimage in 1988, compared to you, if you bring me now, I have lost my energy. I don't have that strength anymore. Okay, I think quite recent I have brought so many. I can't even climb that Jabal Rahmah. I can't even go up. Of course, for the Mount Hira is even worse. I only climbed up there in 1993. Okay, and that one also the tiredness of climbing that Mount Hira takes me 1 year to recover. So now I'm 63. I don't know what will happen if you ask me to climb. I tried many times when I brought students. I can only just reach the foot of the mountain, not even the foot that is clear. So this is what it means by time is the one that make a lot of us regret it, right? You will regret that we didn't. So please, as we are learning now, it is the best for you to, like I said, I didn't actually, I'm supposed to ask you to, to show your face, but I didn't ask you to do that. By right, you should, but of course I know, especially, I mean, for the sisters, you are excused because if you're not in a proper attire, then it's best not to show. I don't know where your position is. If you are in front, or, if you're at home, you're not properly in a proper attire, then you are excused from not showing your face. But for the brothers, there's no need of you to hide from the camera. Okay, this is trying to get the touch between teachers and student. Yeah, whatever it is still not the same when you get to meet uh, the person itself. But yeah, this is expected actually. Okay, so this is when you go into start living now, and you need to remember the three words there mentioned: yaqeen, sabr, and taqwa. Right? So ourselves, our parents, and then you're married, you got your wife, then your children, right? Once you're married, then there is relative of your wife's side or your side, and then you have neighbors and friends, Allah, society, right? This is when you talk about living. And Allah and society here is where I already told you in Islam there is only two lines, vertical and horizontal. Right? Allah, nothing so difficult if you were to talk about him. He didn't demand much. He didn't put you in a situation where you find that almost, which again I have been repeated this. Can anybody tell me what is the most toughest thing that you cannot do when you talk about the act of worship or obedience to Allah? Can anyone, you know, does anyone have anything to say? The one you find it so difficult. It's like you're carrying what that Allah put onto your shoulder something that is unbearable. If there is, then you are blaming Allah to say that Allah doesn't know you. How could that be? Where He created you, He knows. your credibility, what you are capable of, what you are not. So that's why normally there is no issue when you talk about hablum min Allah. And but it's just that the hablum min Allah is not being properly applied and understood. But I've been telling you this many times. I hope that you're not bored. I already said that just just imagine if you were to just practice Rukun Islam, the 5 pillars of Islam. I don't see anything difficult about that. Plus my experience with revert or convert to embrace Islam, be it from whichever part of the world they come. At the initial stage, maybe that is because of the language. But no one complained about the salah to say that, oh, lama, this is absurd. Why I have to be doing the ruku and the sujud? No one complained. Even coming from European continent, American, or even Japan, that I had interact with, they didn't complain. They find it okay. It's just simple, to be able to pray, right? So hablum min Allah, like I said just now, unless if your understanding of the hablum min Allah is wrong, then you'll find it's a burden to you, right? The statement is very common to everyone. I think everyone, most of you memorize already. Allah made it clear to tell us that la yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. I did not burden any soul to ask you to carry something that is not within your strength. The one that you will have many issues is the society, and that is hablum minan nas. This one, maybe at the later, we will learn more pertaining to our behavior. As you can see, some comment, how the Muslim reacted towards whatever is happening in Singapore in a very negative manner. Where are your iman? You comment, you condemn, where you are not in that, you are not even near that rank, condemning others, like a ruler is no good, that ruler is bad, and this and that, Astaghfirullah. Brothers and sisters in Islam, be very careful of whatever you say. Remember, you will be accountable for it. Right. So you can only be happy, as you can see the one on the right there, where you have iman. That's where the happiness comes. And that is the promise that Allah promised. If you embrace Islam, He promised you will be at peace. Okay, you will be at peace. That's what the word Islam itself, it means peace, calmness. But then this is not understood by many because of how we practice, and we understood wrongly, and as a result, how can a prayer person behave in a very negative manner, saying things which is negative? I'm just sharing to make you understand of the environment that we are in. It's very easy just to condemn. You can be condemning me, right? That's the way you like. But you are not me, I'm not you. So sometimes you have to have that thinking to understand each and every one of us. Accordingly, even the weakest thing that you are capable of is still, in Islam, there is a value in it. So if your iman is right, if you really have, like I said, many of us just do the Rukun Islam, but the iman is missing. Because why I dare to say the iman is missing? When you say that you are a believer, the first thing that you saw on the right, what is that word? Can anybody read to me? If you are looking at the screen, right, next to the iman on the right side.
Love.
Ah, oh, love. Andai dia jawab love. Right. So you ask yourself, if you're a Muslim, do you love everyone? You ask yourself, okay? And then, are you worried about, as you know, politically or whatever has been advertised or whatever the political party said, many will be losing job. You know? Are you worried about that? Hello?
We'll be lying if not now, Ustaz.
Why should you? Why should
Because we have commitments.
we have commitment? You think I don't have commitment? No, I'm trying to share and make you understand. So speak up, don't worry. What is the difference between you and me? Maybe if you say maybe your commitment is much more bigger, you know, in comparison to me. Maybe, right? So that is the one that worry you, sister? Hermanto?
Okay lah, Ustaz. You mean to be very honest, the iman is not strengthened lah. You know, it's as much as we try, but it's an uphill lah. It's an uphill battle lah. Sincerely lah. And I mean, we being indoctrinated in the sense that we work and then we see the rewards almost immediately, which is by the end of the month, you know, and then at the back of my mind, you know, it's already been system been programmed that okay, you know, it's assured. So that's the thing of that. I mean, it boils down to the faith lah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to make everyone understand, you know, so that the iman have to be there. If the iman is not there, then definitely, I mean, it's the worst thing that I can remember is if the iman is not there. That's why I even share to you that it can even lead into suicide.
Ustaz, sorry Ustaz. I think if I may add, it's because that from all the examples, Allah will definitely help, but He will help at the very last minute. You know, we being human, you know, we do not like to have that not feeling assured that whether this thing come or not, you know, those type of thing. So what if there is a lot of what if kind of thing. So,
that's why I wrote the 3 things here. See, it comes with sabar, right? And you find the word وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, the word sabar will normally come with salah. So even you have done the prayer, you have to have sabar, and you most importantly that you have to have yaqeen before you get taqwa below that. So these 3 is something that you cannot separate.
That's that. I think most people, because of our our lifestyles, so difficult when we lose a job, when we do something, we don't know whether we are sure are the same lifestyle or not. There's a lot of people having difficulty adjusting.
Yeah, that is because of you have to ask the mistake that is done by you, because it's impossible if you were to blame onto Allah because you lost your job.
No, I for what happened to me for the past few years, I don't blame Allah Ta'ala. I lose my job, everything, I don't blame Allah, but then it's just a matter of we all being able to adjust our expectations, adjust our lifestyle, our wants, our needs, and all that.
Yeah, that is what we need to do as Muslim. If we have been doing the prayer and continuing the study, it actually, Zul, it actually boosts up all these other things here. It should boost up your sabar. It should also boost up or build up your yaqeen onto Allah Ta'ala. Without this, then something is wrong with whatever that you're doing. Okay, that's why I give you an example of if people were to practice Rukun Islam, you will find that that person still get through a lot of difficulties, isn't it? What does that mean? Azul?
Yes, Ustaz, can you repeat that, Ustaz?
I said, generally, if people have practiced the Rukun Islam, they even complete up to going for Umrah, that means they have completed the Rukun Islam. But yet they go through the hardship that you were mentioning, isn't it?
Yes, Ustaz.
Sometimes,
It's
what?
I'm sorry. No, it's a test.
Yes,
That's our faith.
you can say it's a test. And tests come is with a reason again, Zul. Yeah, that's what I've been also making you understand. Bala in Arabic, it's not just a test, but it's a wake-up call. Allah is trying to reach you to make you understand that, hello, you're not doing according to what I want you to do. I want you to do. You do according to what you think that you want to do. You know, it's so sad to, I can share with you, you know, there are people who even make a confession that he does prayer. He does the regular prayer 5 times a day. He does even the night prayer. He confessed that he does also the voluntary fasting, but yet are very temperamental. Can you tell me what's wrong with this guy?
It's very temperamental.
Very hot tempered. What's wrong with it?
Something wrong with his iman. Something wrong that maybe he's not doing it ikhlas, sincerely. I don't know.
So this is what I meant. Don't get too excited because you're able to perform the Rukun Islam. But you didn't check that actually the Rukun Islam you do for the sake of just doing. Then it doesn't build up the sabrun. It doesn't have the yaqeen, and that's where when times like in COVID, you know, like during the pandemic, what is happening to you and everyone, and I'm going through the pandemic too, isn't it? You see, your yaqeen becomes lesser. Your hope to what Allah is here. If you have already understood the religion accordingly, what did Allah say in Surah At-Talaq? What did Allah promise you in Surah At-Talaq? What did Allah say? وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. Clearly, if you have faith in me, now faith, as I told you, the iman there in the center, right? It comes with what? It comes with understanding, you know, and then it has 3 levels, right? Yakin, Ainul Yakin or Ainal Yakin and Haqqul Yakin when you talk about Yakin. So faith is also the same. Muslim, and then you have Mu'min, and then you have Muhsin. So it's not just where the level you are, is where you need to be able to see, you know, what happens to you. This is the problem with us. Sometimes, you know, before you pinpoint onto Allah and putting the blame onto Allah, these are the things that each and every one of us need to check. Be careful, you know. I want to be with all of you in Jannah. So it's my job to try and make you understand how we can still be together in the hereafter. Okay, I have to have patience to explain and repeating it. Although you're going to get sick of listening to my repetition, but that is the only way to make you learn. Okay, so if you didn't do accordingly, then you will not be a happy Muslim. Because Islam itself, as I already told you, besides submission, it also means peace. We should have peace. And this is very important when you talk about dealing with God's creatures. All of us are Allah Ta'ala's creatures. You have to have a peace of heart. If you don't have that peace of heart, you will not make peace with others. And the first one that becomes the greatest enemy is your family, your wife. Look at what happened to that children, that the parent has been sentenced to 27 years. Can you imagine? So what's wrong there? What's wrong there, you tell me? It's always like you have been doing the prayer, example, okay, I'm giving an example, right? But then you still have that temperamental, hot temper. You throw tantrum at other people. What is the problem, brothers and sisters? What is the problem? Huh? Hello? Can anybody speak up?
Hati tak tenang, Ustaz.
Hati tak tenang. Then you have to find means and ways to get it mended lah. Mend the broken heart, so to say lah. Ada lagu kan? There's a song that says, nothing that cannot be repaired. In Islam, you have to quickly find a remedy. That's what I always also mention. The saddest part about us human beings, when we are hungry, I can give you only the most, maybe a couple of hours. Imagine that you didn't eat yesterday, right? What will happen if you wake up this morning? Will you be killing people to get food or not? Will the anger boost up or not? Hello?
Yeah, you tend to be more irritable.
Yes. So that's why then that means you see, if you even your Rukun Islam that you do, you didn't actually follow. Where yesterday it's already been mentioned in the book of purification of the soul, clearly mentioned there, there are three types of heart. The healthy heart, the sick heart, the healthy heart, the bad heart, and the sick heart. Unfortunately, of course, I didn't ask everyone to be following all my class, but then as you can see that the classes will be addressing to different topics that I will be discussing. So sometimes if you miss that class, I try my best also to try and share what was covered yesterday. Anyway, and even sometimes that's why I recommended you to download or buy that book and read it yourself, because sometimes not every one of you can be following all the classes. And besides that, you're going to get sick of me if you follow my Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday class. Some will get sick, or get tired, and okay, what book is that, Brother Ethan? The book is known as Purification of the Soul. Okay, can somebody help Mr. Ethan Tan? Is asking about what book. So these are some of the books that I use in my other classes. So I mention books because I know that I cannot say everything, although we have 1 hour for our class, right? 1.5 hours. Normally that is the standard time that I know that we can be very attentive. After that, our mind will be distracted by many others. Okay. Okay. So this is how, go back again, brothers and sisters in Islam. I'm also reminding myself, brothers and sisters, okay, to go back into that book of Islam and check it out. Check where did I went wrong in practicing it. Because again, I have read to you, for those who are following my class, the book of Imam Ibn Rajab Hamali, The Journey to Allah. We have completed that book. In that book is where it mentioned about be careful of practicing Rukun Islam without internalizing whatever that you practice. Then you have already been warned by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are likely to be in hellfire. There is no guarantee that you will not be in hellfire if you solely practice Rukun Islam without internalizing it, okay, without understand whatever that you're doing. Okay, this is not my statement, and it's not the statement of Al Imam Ibn Rajab Hanbali, but it is coming from an hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that book. I forgot whether it's from Sahih Bukhari or Muslim. You can go, and when you read that book, you can find where it is, who are the narrator, who narrate that hadith, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned about the importance of us practicing Rukun Islam. Now, I am a teacher, as you know, right? So I come across a lot, you know, be it maybe my family members or even relative or non-relative or even students, you know, who that I have met and checked, and some even proudly make an announcement that they fast on Monday and Thursday, you know, they pray 5 times a day, they do the night prayers and all the supererogatory prayer too, but then yet still have problems. Now, I'm not saying that there will be a guarantee, but based on that Surah Al-Talaq, it will remove the worries in you. Based on that surah. Okay, Surah Al-Talaq, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. This is a guarantee, you know. And you know, Allah has mentioned again in other verses that He says, إِنَّكَ لَا تُخْلِفُ الْمِيعَادِ. I haven't broke my promise. You know what I promised, I will give to you. So if you have faith in Allah Ta'ala, you don't have to be worrying about your job. Even if you have to lose, He will provide you something else. He will not leave us die in this world. Okay? So this is what sabar is all about. Sabrun, or sabru, that is to restrain from oneself to that which is dictated by the divine. To restrain. You have to learn. This one requires training. You have to be steadfast in obedience to Allah. Then you have to be steadfastness in avoiding the prohibited matters. That requires time about the halal and haram. And then patient in times of calamity, you know, when you have been tested. So if you have a proper understanding of the religion, even you are at my age, and you know, I'm just living with my wife, and this is the two of us in a small flat, you will not be, you know, there's no such thing as you will be boring, or you will, no. You will find that you are at ease. Although you don't have anything, only the two of us together. I see her, she see me, that's all. Or we watch the TV together. Other than that, I will be in one corner, she will be in one corner, that kind of thing. You know, what matters here, what I want to share is, you will have, I mean, at ease is the most important. You have to be in peace. If you're not peace, then there will be war as you grow older, because there's nothing else that you can do. You know, even if you were to be shifting things in your house or whatever, you will collapse and it will get you into trouble. So you have to study every of these Arabic words. It has multiple meaning, especially the Quran. Okay, especially the Quran. I'm very proud of some of my students, you know, who is a convert. You know, I was shocked to learn, to know from her that she studied Balagha. You know? Wow, this is something that I don't think so any one of you here which is listening to me, you know, she showed me the book of Balagha. This is what I mean, this is where I mean, like I said, they are the earliest student of mine. Alhamdulillah, even they didn't follow, but I spend enough time to guide them and give them the strength. And after I left, because of I was working and teaching in Kuching for 1.5 years, so I missed all my students. So these earlier students of mine decided to go on their way. And I'm very proud to share with you that I met one, and then, and she shared that what is it that she studied. This is what the importance of what I'm saying, that you have to manage your time. So you may not be able to start immediately, but you have to start somewhere. Okay? You have to start somewhere to study, and as you know, as what the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, again yesterday we covered this about the excellence of knowledge in the book of purification of our soul. It mentioned about utlub al-ilma ila, excuse me, utlub al-ilma ila al-mahd ila al-lahad. Utlub al-ilma, you are to seek knowledge when you are young until you went into the graveyard. Meaning that until you die, then only the whatever you study is okay, already for you to rest. Okay, to complete the 3 level of patience, you have to have these 3 again. You have to have sincerity, siddiq, and then you will get sabr. Or to get sabr, you have to have these 3. You have to be truthful. And then at the same time seeking aid from Allah only. Whatever, whenever. Like I said just now, I mean, I've been put to many tests that some of you are maybe going through now, like lose job. I even mentioned to some of the students, even at this age, if I have to work, I will work. Dishwasher, whatever, and it doesn't matter. The problem with us, you see, we are choosing. Okay, so this is where this has to do with the nafs, our desire. So, but if you didn't choose, I was in that kind of situation where there is no job. But I asked Allah. And like I told you just now, Allah Himself says that وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. He promised you, I mean, all you need to do is just to have taqwa. Okay, you keep on submitting, and then you sabr, you have the yaqeen, and you do it sincerely, especially if you are married and you're looking after your children. Allah will never fail you. Okay, Allah will never fail you. Definitely, there will be increment and decrement of your salary. That is not an issue. The problem with us is always that we didn't go into what I mean. We keep on comparing the things that we are not supposed to be. Remember, I told you about the means and want. MEAN and WANT. The issue with us is our complaint is always about the want. WANT is not what Allah promises. Okay? It doesn't come into that verse just now in Surah Talaq. Okay? The one is for you to put on the effort. Is should you want a better life? Should you want to be driving a bigger car, living in a bigger house, and this and that? Those are all the wants. Can you see the difference or not, brothers and sisters in Islam? Hello? Can you see the difference?
Yes, Ustaz.
If you go for the mean, you already have that mean. No one here, Singaporean, right, that we know that doesn't have a house. We don't want to go into the nitty-gritty, no. But we knew that every Singaporean have a shelter. Be it 3 room, 1 room, no room, but you still have shelter. To compare to if you were to discuss about the means in different parts of the world. So how can you be complaining? So what you're complaining is not the mean, isn't it? It's the one, W-A-N-T. Mine is 3 room. I don't like that. I want a condo. Relax lah, brother. You want a condo? Go and find a job lah. Go and work hard lah. And you knew that because of the cost of living in our country is high, you know, there's no way that any one of us can afford to be even buy a landed property. Right? You can. No one said it. If you're still thinking of the one, you still can get, but you will have to, you know, leave everything. The practices of your religion will be affected because you have to focus on to get the dollar and cent in order to buy a landed property. Can you see that? Hello? Are you all with me?
Yes, Ustaz.
Okay, go continue. Thank you. So remember just to seek Allah Ta'ala in. Then the yakin again, certainty. This is profound established faith. If you're yakin, like I told you just now, all you have to do is increase the yakin. If you are talking about in today's context, right, at least you all are still having a job. You earn. But what about me? You want to know how much I earn? Huh? Hello? Whenever ask me? Hello?
How much is it, Ustaz?
You want to ask? Oh, I got no income. Okay, whatever Allah gave me, that will be my income. You know, you can ask my boss, Aidil Yao, he's my boss. What he gave me, you want to ask, you can ask him. And besides, I mean, there are others who also gave me generously, without fail. That will be my income. If you're talking about income as in a sense fixed, like most of you get, end of the month, you know how much you get, right? Mine is not like that. Not necessarily end of the month. Can be no month, can be any time. Okay? Can you understand? So this is about yakin. You know, you have to have faith in him. Yeah, I mean, sometimes yes, you know, not enough to buy this, to pay that kind of thing. But then you have to have a profound faith. Then this profound faith here, as you can see, you are free of question. You do not question Allah Ta'ala. You will not be having any hesitation. And the worst is doubt. How can you doubt that Allah, man? Hello, you, astaghfirullah. Sometimes you find that it's very strange, isn't it? You are doubted the creator that create the world, you know. If you doubted me, alhamdulillah lah, then you are right lah. You are right. You are not wrong. You doubted Hermanto, you are right. You doubted our current president, you are right. But you doubted Allah, na'udzubillah, summa na'udzubillah. You are wrong. If you question him, you are wrong. You hesitate, you are wrong. So you see, this is what I meant by if you were to be doing your Rukun Islam without all this, now what I'm clearing to you, then you will have an iman that is going to be shaky. Shaky by whatever that is happening to you, then you lean towards that. Once you lose your job, okay, that's it. Okay, don't need to pray lah. Allah is not fair to me lah. Why I lose my job? But you didn't ask yourself the question as to why. As I told you, Islam always teach us to be excellent in everything. Can you imagine that? You only heard this at this age, where it has been there 1,440 years ago. The Quran has been there. It is mentioned there in the Quran. So if you have a profound faith, But bottom line, whatever it is, brothers and sisters in Islam, you must always remember the world is not meant for us. That's why you are, as I always advise my children when they were young, I said, remember, you're not going to get everything. The most you're going to get 99%. Okay? Or 90%, I said. 90% of what you are aiming for when you're living in this world. Okay? Why? Nobody want to ask why, eh? Why, eh? Hello? Why? You don't want to know why. Why you cannot get everything?
Some of it is being reserved, sir.
I'm sorry?
The 1% is being reserved.
I mean, why you cannot get everything?
This part I don't know, sir.
I mean, it's because of, as you know, us, right, human beings, we are greedy, isn't it? We also have that, we didn't do a cross-examination about ourselves, We
So we
have,
become arrogant, am I right?
I'm sorry?
So we might become arrogant, so it's reserved.
Yes. So you cannot get everything. You're bound to be, Allah will give as much as, he's the knower of everything. He created you, right? He knows what he should give to you, who he should give to you. You see, like sometimes certain things, like example, when you talk about the relationship also, sometimes the relationship will not work. You see, you have tried. Actually, you both love each other, but then suddenly, wait, what happened? Why it doesn't work? You see, there is a reason for everything, isn't it? But don't put the blame onto Allah first. Check it out. Did you make the right choice? Did you follow the guide that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned? What to look for in your spouse? What are the character that you have to look into? See, this other thing that Astaghfirullahalazim, be careful of this thing. Like, we should not be questioning, we should not have hesitation, and we should not doubt Allah. Okay? So this from the certainty sprouts absolute reliance in Allah. The tawakkul is proof and tested if your yaqeen is right. Like an example, did Allah ask you and put you in a blazing fire? Hello? Anyone? Did you go through that kind of hardship? No, right? Ibrahim, imagine, they don't get to see Allah like the way we do also, even they are prophets, right? Imagine, he's thrown in a blazing fire. So if his yaqeen is shaky, I tell you, he will be burnt. Finished. That will be the end. Imagine that you can be having the same faith if you train yourself. So the next time, so like this fire walking that you saw in some of the religion, it's not something that is impossible. Okay? Psychology has studied that is again, how the mind works. Normally, right, for those who are in medical, that if you don't see bleeding, you will not act it foolishly. But the moment you saw you were bleeding somewhere, then you see the hoo-ha of human being. So you see how it links. So this way the yaqeen must be high. If the yaqeen is high, even you see you lose your leg, is no big deal. No big deal. Of course, pain is pain, right? But no big deal. No question asked. You will not hesitate. You are very. So the yaqeen of these people, and Allah have reminded us again, Alhaakumut takathur hatta zurtumul maqab. كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين. Okay? Allah has warned us in this verse, don't be arrogant. Human becomes ignorant, human becomes arrogant the moment they are beautiful, the moment they are, they have a lot of money, they drive big cars, they they own a few shops and this. You can see all over, even in our society. This is generally how human behave. That's why until Allah has to reveal this verse to make us, to remind us, you know, Kalla sawfa ta'lamun, summa kalla sawfa ta'lamun. Don't behave in that manner. He repeated, and I already told you again, the Quran has been repeated, summa kalla sawfa ta'lamun. Then only he said, Kalla law ta'lamuna ilmal yaqin. Then later you will be having that certainty. And according to this verse, if you continue reading, latarawunan jahil. Then only you believe of there is nar. Then only you believe when you are still alive, where there is already fire to remind you about hellfire. But you don't care. That's why I told you that in whatever deeds that we do, you cannot disconnect the Rukun Iman. The Rukun Iman has to be there. And then it will, you're able to lift up your Iman going to, as I already told you just now, Yakin is of 3 levels. Yakin, Ainul Yakin or Ainal Yakin, and Hakul Yakin. So you need to know, the meaning of all these things. So for certainty is proud, absolute reliance in Allah. And through, again, Yakin, all doubt, suspicion, and worry dispel. Right? If you mentioned just now, you don't have to reason with me. Allah Ta'ala is the knower of everything. You are not, I don't need for you to be giving me reason, but Allah Ta'ala knows that if you have yakin in Him, it will sprout absolute reliance in Allah. Unless if your yakin is shakeable or shaky, then you will have doubt unto Him, you will be suspicion of Him, you will be worried. But if you don't, then as what is mentioned here, all doubt, suspicion, worry will dispel, and the heart is filled with love. And this is what I said earlier. Even if you call yourself as a Muslim, you will always be loving all Allah Ta'ala creation. Not only your immediate family, children and wife, but all of Allah Ta'ala creation. And it's not easy, let me tell you that, okay? Generally, people will irritate you. You have friends, enemies, and foe out there, but you have to start with loving them first. All right? Then only come your hope and then the fear of Allah. So the 3 levels of certainty, the 3 levels of yakin, knowledge, seeing, and actual experience. Okay? Any questions so far? Anybody?
Ustaz. Sorry, Ustaz Haikal here. I want to ask you regarding, because you keep emphasizing the fact that we are experts at Rukun Islam, but we don't actually inculcate Rukun Iman in our ni. I get what you're trying to say, but I just want to ask you regarding, because when you say things like, okay, somebody solat, but he has hot temper or any other habit that he has,
right.
There's also this thing about being humans,
right.
And humans have weaknesses.
Yes.
So, and because we have weaknesses, we make mistakes.
Right.
So when we make mistakes, it's not an excuse for us to say, oh, because I'm weak, I can make mistake, that's why my iman is not there.
Right.
But where then do we draw the line that we, as humans, we have weaknesses, we make mistakes, yet also we also want to make sure that whatever that we do, our amalan, has some form of rukun iman following on. Because I mean, you're also not saying that we should be perfect, like we are not perfect, but how there to draw a line between, okay, we are humans, we have weaknesses in us, but at the same time also we must strive to have that rukun iman in our rukun Islam. How to draw the line was that?
The effort is where the line has been drawn. The effort that you put in. Coming back to what you said just now, that Allah Himself, when He created us, He already told us, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانَ ضَعِيفًا. See, He has made a declaration. He has declared and shared. He said that, hello, don't forget no matter how you try, you have your weaknesses.
Yeah.
So we cannot be holding that as an excuse to say we are created weak,
Okay.
right? So the strive is where it will clear. You know? It will strike a balance. You have to keep on striving, right? You strive. Then an example of this, like you start striving of memorizing the Quran. You start striving of learning Arabic language. So that is where the balance comes in, isn't it? But if you keep on mentioning that you're weak and weak and weak and nothing is being done, there is no, you know, it's really an imbalance there,
I see.
right? So that's where, I mean, like the same, like I said just now, okay, in situation that we have been practicing the Rukun Islam, right? But what is missing actually, Mama Aikar, is the internalizing it.
Yeah.
You know, like job, you don't need to be internalizing it, right? If you work, right, you don't have to have that soul. But even though, but people still use that word to say that you have to work with your heart and soul,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
but then in Islam, when we are doing something, we're not putting any effort in internalizing what we are doing.
I see.
As I said, the beauty of Islam, it is not again self-professed. You cannot just make your own profession to say that, oh, you have done it. The result can be seen. The result can be seen. There is no need of you to be making an announcement as in the newspaper. No need. Like just now I said, right, and I've been repeating this also. You see, the Quran says what? Inna salata tanha anil fahsya'i wal munkar. Clearly. So if you really done a prayer, how can you become a temperamental person? It's impossible. That means you are not praying because you are just, you know, you're just doing the action, but you are not internalizing it. You're not, you're not relying on Allah to say, Allah, you help me now. I'm your servant. You know, I mean, of course, again, the issue with us is most of us don't understand Arabic. You know, we don't. You know, the ikrar or rather the ikrar is what in English. What is ikrar?
Pledge, is it? Pledge.
Pledge. The pledge that we made in our daily prayer, right? Although that's why in the prayer in the book of Munyatul Musalli, there is a mention of these are all sunnah, but then sunnah mu'akada. It has a strongly recommended act that we try to do because this is where actually it starts with us making a confession that we are really in front of Malikin Nas Ilahim. We didn't put all this effort. Normally in most instances, right? Like I said again, we've been doing the prayer, but how come did you feel the kingship of Allah when you're in front of your praying man? Do you feel as someone in the uniform group, right? When you met your superior, you can see the difference, isn't it? If you met someone that is higher ranking than you, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly you felt that, alamak, boss datang, boss. And then like now my boss is listening to me, so I got to be careful of the word I said, that kind of thing. Right? We don't actually, we reacted in a way like, these are the norm.
Yeah.
We pay like normal, we pay like normal. No, this one actually, again, as I said, is the effort that you put in, the jihad. If you put on the effort, right, then the khushu' will come. And it has to come by stages. So you have to begin with first, okay, let's try and understand what I'm reading. Like song, even, so many of us, we are not, we have Mr. Intikab and the wife there. We are not Hindustani people, But when you see Andas, you see Bobby, if you remember, for those who watch Hindustan movie, why you cry? Huh? And some even, I can still remember, when I went during my younger day, like the Dost, Raha. You can ask Intika whether I pronounce it rightly or not. Those this songs about friends. You see, we don't understand, but then we're beginning to appreciate and find that, okay lah, this is what it is. It touches the heart. So if we put on an effort of understanding what is salah, and accordingly, it will also move your heart. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other question? You got 10 minutes more, huh, boss?
Yes, sir. I think next one, I think a few more slides they will change to another team.
Okay, Roger. So
Inshallah,
let's
inshallah.
finish. Because this certainty again, it comes in the Quranic verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned here, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, aminu billahi wa rasulih wal kitabi wa kitabi alladhi nazzala ala rasul. See the word nazzala. This is where some of the Arabic words are very, very unique. It's a clear statement coming from Allah. That means it's a revelation. It is not wrote. It's not written by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wal kitab allazi nazala ala rasuli wal kitab allazi anzala min qablu wa man yakfur billah wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi wal yawmil akhir faqad dhalla ضلالة بعيد. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Clearly Allah mentioned about yaqeen, about your belief. Right? Normally I said that the word belief is not really very weighty. It doesn't carry much weight in Islam. But as you can see here, where it says, "O you who believe, believe in Allah, believe in His Messenger, the book that He sent down to His Messenger, and the scriptures which He sent down before." This is referring to Torah, Injil, and Zabur, right? So and whoever disbelieve in Allah, you don't want to believe in Allah, believe in His angel, His book, His messenger, and the last day has certainly gone fast. So you have been warned about the yaqeen. I mean, the Quran, brothers and sisters, are the first thing that we have already went through this many times. The first thing that when you're reading the Quran, especially the literal translation of the Quran, you have to remove the doubt in your heart. Okay? Because the most thing that can strengthen our iman is the Quran. Because Allah Ta'ala is challenging whoever in this world, from whichever country that you come from, if you think that you are better or perhaps you are smarter, you are stronger, Allah asks you to change whatever is written in the Quran. This is mentioned in chapter 2, verse 23 and 24. Clearly, if you understand the infrastructure and how the verses of the Quran is being revealed, Allah made it very clear, challenging anybody who thinks that you are not certain with it. And this is the beauty, and this is where normally when people study the Quran, people will embrace Islam. People know that this is not something that you can have, you can write down. In chapter 2, verse 23 and 24, clearly Allah mentioned, warning us, challenging us to say that وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِمَّا نَزَلْنَا عَلَى عَبْدِنَا فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِهِ. Clearly in this verse Allah mentioned, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ, if you, so kuntum in Arabic means addressing to all of His creation. وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ. Raibin means you doubted whatever has been revealed to my servant. In kuntum fi raibin mimma nazalna. See the word nazalna has what is being mentioned here. nazala, but this is nazalna. That we, Allah uses the term to again emphasizing His strength. He says He is the most powerful. You know, that's why the ayat uses the term nazalna, where in comparison to this one is just nazala. You know, to know the grammar in Arabic language or Quranic language. You know, وَإِن كُنتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِّمَّا نَزَلْنَا عَلَى عَبْدِنَا, Allah challenged us, فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِهِ. You know, if you have doubt onto what I revealed to my servant, that's right. You know, one chapter. Allah didn't ask you too many. And Allah has already answered, and it is proven up to now in our time, no one is able to copy the Quran. That's what it is written and what you are reading now. No one. You can't change any of the shackle, you know, or the demarcation line. Okay, you can't change the fatha, kasra, dhamma. You can't change. Once you change, then we know that something you have already amended the Quran, and that is the beauty, and it's the reason why you have to learn why are all these kasra, fatha, dhamma is written onto the Quran. Wallahu alam bisawab. Let's move on, boss. So how do I transform myself? Of course, this one it's not going to be one day session, because after we have completed this Thursday class, as I promise you that I will go into to share with you about how to raise our children in accordance with Quran and Sunnah as soon as we finish the module, and then we will start again. If you are willing to learn about this transformation, always remember when you decide to transform, you know, like normally people say change, right? If you spell the word CHANG, right? Change is not so easy as the way many people think. There is a methodology of change, you know. So this is where this transformation is, you know, how do you change? When you said you tawbah, also there's a condition on how tawbah has been done. So the servant of Allah perseveres, to have perseverance to perform the obligation ordained by Allah. Allah knows that. It's something that human don't like, you know. So that's why there must be, a command for us to be doing it, to take it as an obligation. Then to have perseverance to avoid all that Allah forbid, that requires strength. So that's why you have to begin with knowing all these things. How do you gain the strength to perform the obligation? Some of this I already taught you. For those who have problems or a little bit lazy, can't be doing the prayer, to do the zikr, Ya Kawi, Ya Matin, Ya Kawi, Ya Matin, 626 times. For Allah Ta'ala to loan His strength to us in order for us to we are able to perform the obligation that ordained by Him. Then how to persevere to avoid all that He forbid. This one also requires training. Okay, you start doing it step by step, stage by stage, not abruptly. Because abruptly, normally if it has been done, then there will be a downfall to that. Because, you know, it's about the strength of what, you know, how I mean, it boils back again to the knowledge and, whatever the strength that you have. Okay, and lastly is to have perseverance over which Allah decree and predestined. This is the one will be the last topic that we will discuss, you know, about qada and qadar. And many will be mislead, you know, if you don't understand this properly, because they are just waiting to put on the blame onto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where actually that's not how it works. Okay? So this is how you should feel about yourself. You should be honored. But honor belongs to Allah and His Messenger, and to believe and to the believers, as Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Munafiqun, chapter 63, verse 8. You want to call yourself as master of yourself and be mastered by none except Allah. Allah mentioned that in chapter 4, verse 141. And never will Allah grant to the unbelievers a way to triumph over the believers. If you feel that you're protected, supported, and guided, Allah is the protector of those who have faith. As I just mentioned to you in Surah Al-Talaq also, Allah had made that promise. From the depths of darkness, He will lead them forth into light. And then lastly, if you feel that Allah is always with you, watching, protecting, and helping, so this is where the verses becomes an evident. Verily Allah will defend from ill those who believe. Verily Allah loves not any that is traitor to faith or shows ingratitude. Have you ever felt, what you have ever felt when your iman hits rock bottom? This is, you have to ask yourself that question, and you can share with me next week. And then when you felt hopeless and just cannot pick yourself up, who do you turn to, and so on and so forth. When you feel powerless, when you got retrenched, this is all has to do with the iman, the three things just now: yakin, sabr, and taqwa. And when you are desperately in need, again, Allah is always there, ever ready, And how do you deal with these challenges? So this is what we will go through, I think, next week, inshallah. Right, with that, I will end here. For if there's any question and answers from you. Anybody? Don't be shy. I know it's already 10 p.m. No question. Silent is no, boss. No question.
So you pick, you are the teacher.
Okay, I'm not going to force you as per normal, right? I just hope that whatever that I share, it's also benefited me, not only you. It also as a reminder for myself. It doesn't mean that I'm a teacher, I'm so high up there. No, not in the eyes of Allah. Okay, not in the eyes of Allah. So I'm also struggling. I'm also, try to build up the perseverance, patience, and all others. So all I'm asking, if you need help, you can always discuss this next week.
Ustaz, one more thing. Sorry. Ustaz, just now the zikir that you were saying to strengthen our iman, is it? I can't remember.
It's not.
What was it?
This is for the obligation that we find it very heavy for us to.
To make you persevere. What was it again, Ustaz?
Ya Qawi Ya Matin. It's the 99 names of Allah. If you go into the 99 names, you will find this. Ya Qawi Ya Matin.
How many times, Ustaz?
626 times.
626 times a day.
I mean, it depends on how severe your iman is. If you don't have that strength, then the more you read, the better it's going to be.
Thank you, Ustaz. Ya Qawi Ya Matin, is it?
Ya Qawi.
Thank you, Ustaz.
Ustaz, this one go or can break it up?
Actually, it is according to the scholars that practices this to do it between Maghrib and Isha.
So which means from Maghrib to Isha all the way, 6 to 6?
Not from Maghrib to Isha, but in between this time, because these are most of the scholars and most of the same. They normally will sit Maghrib. They will not leave the praying mat and continue until Isha. Because remember, I told you that Isha is also a very important prayer, and it's always very challenging to many. And that's why sometimes I notice that they fear that they're going to miss the Isha prayer because they are tired coming back from work after class. So some of them you see, I didn't actually open my mouth to remind them. Actually, between the class and the prayer, they are of the same part. Meaning the not, I mean the reward is also the same. You know, fardu ain. So both are fardu ain. So, but some because of they may have some of their weaknesses. You know, normally if they were to be finish their class, they find it very difficult to perform the Isha prayer. So some will do the Isha first and then join the class. So this zikr will help us to have that strength to, you know, until it becomes like immune. I mean, imbued to us. We can, is what it means by you asking Allah Ta'ala assistance to give you that strength. The internal strength is something that we don't have. That's why sometimes we need to do some of the zikr to ask Allah Ta'ala to give us that strength. Wallahu a'lam bishawab.
Ustaz, one question, Ustaz. Ustaz, can a doa become like a zikir?
Yeah. This is actually a zikr.
No, a doa.
Ah.
Can a doa become like a zikir?
Yeah, if you put it like a zikr, then it becomes a zikr.
Like asking for apa? Allahumma rahmataka arju. Faratakilin lila nafsi tarfata'in wa asifli sya'ni kulla la ilaha illa anta. Can you make it, can that be made into a zikir?
Yes, why not? As long as Quranic, or it is a practice of the Prophet and the scholars does it, so you can do it.
But I'm not sure whether Rasulullah did it or as a zikir. It's a doa lah, but I don't know whether it be done as a zikir or not. Can we do it as a zikir also?
Yes. If it is a dua, yes, you can make it like, something that you want to be clinging on to. It's not something, there is no hard rule actually in Islam when you talk about building a relation with Allah Ta'ala. You know, if you want to gain closeness, right? There's no hard rules to that. Because the Quran mentioned that, you know, in remembering Him, whether you're sitting down, lying down, driving, walking, you can just call out His name. There is no restriction. There is no barrier between you and Him.
Thank you, Ustaz.
Um,
Thank you very much.
Any other things?
Ustaz, in between Maghrib, zikir between Maghrib to Isha versus after Subuh, which one do you recommend?
Maghrib to Isha is more, there's more hadith that supported that. Because at the beginning of the day, it cannot be that you are encouraged to be reciting too long and until you cannot go to work in time. Right? So that's why if you gather the Prophet's practices, right, you will find that Maghrib and Isha is where they toggle between those rather than Fajr prayer. After the Fajr prayer, we got the worldly matters that we need to look after, isn't it? So that's why cannot be there will be a lot of lengthy zikir for the Fajr prayer. But it's not wrong if you think that you want to be, you are the early bird, you wake up at 4 maybe, or at 5, then you want to be doing a lengthy zikir, by all means. But Maghrib to Isha, although there is no mention of, right, in terms of the practice, like the one that is mentioned that we are recommended strongly to be doing for our family members is Subuh, remember, Asar and Isha. Okay. Asar because of the angel are going up to send a report telling Allah what are you doing, right? That's why Asar is known as Salatul Wusta. It's the middle prayer. And that's the importance of it because of the angel are bringing up the report. Although Allah knows what you are doing, but we want a recommendation from the angel. Right? The angel is the one that departed from you and bring the report to say, what is your mantu doing? Allah is asking. And the angel says, oh, I left him. He do zikir. Apa you? We want the angel to be recommending that kind of words to Allah Ta'ala. Because they are known as the Mukarrabin, they are close to Allah Ta'ala. So that's why there's a mention of try to perform our prayer with our family members who both together. I mean, for those who work on shift, you definitely cannot be running away from subuh work. Unless if your shift is like, you come back the next day, then forget about it lah, right? The subuh is missed. But you can still find the Isha. Okay, Asar, as I said just now, again, most of us, we don't get to be praying together, so we pray Isha together. You can try, after class you pray Isha together. It's very challenging, okay? Because it's at 10. You feel sleepy already, body tired, mind are not working properly, looking at the pillow only. This is normally the challenge to be performing Isha prayer after class, after 10 in other words. That's why the best to do, as early as we can. But like I said just now, sometimes we as husband, you cannot be selfish thinking of yourself. You get to do the congregational prayer, you get 27 more reward. But what about your wife? Because whatever it is in Islam, as always, it's not that the women are not encouraged to be going to the mosque, especially in modern times. In fact, in the Shafiq school, in fact, they also, there's a lot of things they wanted to prevent because the fitna of the women today. But the earlier they discouraged because of safety. They can't be, they cannot walk alone. It's not safe for them, so that's why they are discouraged. But in modern time, they create fitna. Fitna, that means they cannot. If they do not know how to have the adab in their dress code, in their mannerism, laughing, giggling in the mosque, then this is where they shouldn't go to the mosque. It's best for them to be at home. Always recommended for women to always be at home. I'm not saying that you cannot go. Don't turn away what I said. But it's discouraged, because of fitna. But if you are safe, and that's why some classes, if you notice, they try to segregate the women behind, the men in front. That is to lessen the distraction. Of course, we cannot do that in SMCCI. Because ours is, it's somebody else's place. We can't reshuffle, and that's why it's going to be a long way before we can go back to class, brothers and sisters in Islam, because we cannot meet the requirement of the distancing thing. So if you cannot, then they will not allow you. Because as for now, as you know, any gathering, it should just be only 5. Okay? Wallahu a'lam bishawab. Astaghfirullah al-azim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma inna a'udzu bika min ilmin la yanfa' wa min qalbin la yakhsha' wa min nafasin la tashba' wa min da'watin la yustajab laha. Allahumma aghnina bil ilmi wa zayyinna bil hilmi wa akrimna bit taqwa wa jamilna bi 'afiyati ya arhamar rahimin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asr innal insana lafi khusr إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد. الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.